Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and earlier on my live show we were designing a sun catcher using the Kraken or octopus, whichever you prefer to call this fellow, as a top piece to hang 3 dangles down to make a sun catcher. Now, we didn't get that finished, the design finished, so I'm probably going to continue working on the design and then put it together. And we didn't get it finished because we got a thunderstorm and the internet disconnected. Happens, but that's why we died. So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish designing this baby, and then we're going to start putting it together. Now, I'm using this photo of the shipwreck Peter Iredale, which is in Fort Stevens, Oregon, as a inspiration for this particular piece. There we go. And I will explain it to you as we turn what we did when we turned down, and then we'll get finished designing it and get it put together. So let's turn down. Again, here is the picture we're going to use. We're using as our inspiration, and we have the carnelian as the rust bits, the little bronzed pieces as our regular shipwreck and sand color. Of course, our white and our blue is the ocean and its waves. Now I have these little Egyptian crystals, elliptical ones, for the bottom of the short strand, the 2 shorter strands that are on either side. And then I have this one, which to me resembles an anchor for the large side, as well as another Egyptian crystal that we're putting here in the center. Now I've also got some carnelian and some of the little blue stones up here at the top, where we're going to hang him on his circle here, on his ring, and then up to a hanging ring. But the decision now I need to make is, do I want to add any more to this? And I'm not sure. But one thing I do need to do is make the bails for our crystals. And then, of course, we need to string it up. And then we just need to decide the best places for our dangles to hang. Because, let's face it, this one would be probably, or this one would be where our big one would go, our long one. These 2 are nicely, pretty well evened, but they don't work as an even spot with this one. So it'll probably end up turning itself just a little bit, but that's all right. And we got to have, this is our top piece right here, what I had together to put here to the ring. So I need to get some space, more spacers, because I only have a few here. And these pieces all go to the big strand here, and these go to the smaller. So the question then becomes, do I want to add anything more to this to give it any more oomph? And I have the beads I used right over here. And I also brought some pearls in case I decided to add some pearls to it, because, well, I think of pearl when I think of sunken treasure. So, and this is from the bargain bead box, sunken treasure things. Now we can do this one of 2 ways. We can take and just put our soft flex and make a loop through all 3 of our crystals, or I can get some wire out and fashion a bail from the wire, and that is probably what I'm going to do. We'll just get back. Let's get our 20 gauge out. Nope, that's 24, not 20. There's our 20. And we will form bells on all our crystals to start out with right now. And I don't need very much, just a little bit. So we'll cut a couple of hunks of 20 gauge off and start winding up our crystals. Now you can make a really simple bell, you can make a really elaborate bell, depending on how much work you want to put into it. I'm probably going to make relatively simple ones. Put this guy away, it's to the side, we don't want to drop him. And the first one I'm going to make, we're going to make these two little small ones. So go through this baby here. You know, first I should make a bend. We want a bend in it. And then I'm going to go over just a little bit further. I'm going to make another small bend. And I'm going to see if it'll slide over the bend to go into place. If it won't, we'll straighten it, but the wire should remember that bend somewhat so that it'll make it easier to go up and over. There, it remembered it. It went just fine. So we're going to bring these up, and then we'll push them down to each other. Now I'm going to take my pliers, and where they come together here, this one's going to bend down, and this one's going to bend up. So then we'll grab with the pliers where the wires come together, take our second plier, just wrap once, twice. Now, rather than cutting this off, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to take my round nose pliers, it'll work better. We're going to take it and spiral this little baby. Because I have this bend in it, I'm going to straighten that out somewhat. Get our flat nose, straighten it better. But then we're going to spiral this. Now this spiral could be a little better, but it's not bad. Come on. Now I'm going to take this spiral, I'm going to move it around to the front. I left a little tail there. We're going to move that around to the front and cover the crystal up a little bit. See? Now it could have been moved just a little bit more. So there we go. Now we've got this other one going straight up. So we want to bend it over. Trying to decide how I want my crystal to hang here. Hang that way, so bend this over. I get my bell making plier out, and you can use whichever side you want, whether you want it the small or the large. I'm going to take it, wrap it around this way, come over and around. And if you want this to be extra strong, you can make a second loop here. So we'll go up and over again. And then when we come down this time, we're going to wrap this. So we'll take our pliers out. Come on, you. We're going to take hold of it like you would normally. I'm going to push this wire this way so it will bend, it will come across in a more straight fashion. So up Now we're in the front again, and what I'm going to do is make the teensiest weensy little spiral up here at the top. Oop. Of course, we have to hold on to it, or it won't go. And as you can see, this is a little straight across. We don't want it to be doing that. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to cut this more straight spot off. Then we're going to go in again and get that tiny spiral. And like I say, it's just going to be a tiny spiral. And we're going to lay it down over the top of the first one. So now it's not going to want to do that on its own because, well, just because. So we're going to take it with the pliers and bend it down so it goes down. There we go. So this is the one of the sides of our crystal. Now we need to do the same with this other side over here. And then we can start then we have to make one for the big one and start stringing it up. So again, we'll make that those little bends in here. And I probably should have made them at the same time so that I had them more or less designed so they'd be the same. Now this one doesn't want to quite go over that little bow. There we go. Now we bring them up and over, push them down, take this one, the smaller side, and bend it down. Take the longer side and bend it up. Ta-da! Now we're going to hold this side and we're going to wrap this one around 2 times. Now as I did that, you see this? I already did my little curl here, but I've got to cut this little squared spot off here. These might not match exactly, and if they don't, oh well. This is not a pair of earrings or something where things actually have to be exactly the same. They can be a little different with no problem. This one's, in fact, is a much nicer looking spiral. It didn't square out at all like this one did. There's our spiral down there. Then we're going to, of course, take this up here, bend this over, get our bell making pliers, up and over once, turn it, bring it up and over again. Come on, baby, all the way, and over again. Till we come back down here. I'll take these pliers out. Grab it here with these, and it's not quite straight onto that one, so I'm going to straighten it some. Push this wire up. Wrap. Now we need to do our little wrap on this guy. And again, where did I put my cutters? There they are. We want to take off that little squared off place right here. There's that one. Now this one looks to be tipped backwards some, the double loop up here, so let's take it and fix it. There we go. So we have both of these done. Now we're going to do this one sort of the same so it matches up with these, but we'll need a bigger hunk of wire. So let's get a bigger hunk of wire out of here. And I've just been eyeballing my wire. I haven't been getting any specific amount out. I just got a piece that, well, it makes me happy. So now we're wanting this bigger because it's a much thicker crystal. See how thick it is across there? So, and we're going to wrap it slightly different because even though we're more or less going to wrap it the same way, our crystal is slightly different as far as the way it folds up and stuff. So now you could wire wrap this bell and make it a lot fancier even yet if you wanted to, and I'm not actually going to need this much wire here, but that's all right. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So I'm going to cut some of this off because I don't think I want, ooh, don't go throwing things everywhere. I don't think I'm going to want this much, so we're going to cut about inch and a half off. Then we're going to do our spiral. Now see, that has that slight curve in it again, so we're going to cut that little teeny bit off. We'll finish up this spiral. Now this is the front on this side, so we're going to bend this down across the front, like so. Now we want this to go this direction again, so we will bend our, whoop, don't need to get overly ambitious with that there, like that. We're going to get down here. And we're going to put our pliers in. We go up and around once, switch it, coming up and around again. Now all we're really doing when we're doing all these extra up and arounds is strengthening our place where we are going to hold it in place and such. So up. Okay, now that we've come around with this one, I'm going to smash those together because it's not wanting to lay really good. Get this wire up. And again, I'm going to cut part of this off because I don't want it to be quite this long. And we'll take our little because inevitably when you do, you frequently get that little bump right there, but it is what it is. I should have probably cut the end off just a little bit, but I didn't, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Now this one is, the top spiral is obviously going to be bigger than on the other two little guys. That's because of the way I made it. Now it's facing the same direction, and I really don't want it to face the same direction. I want it to sort of curl over the other one, so I'm going to turn it around. And we're going to curl it just a little bit more so that it goes up a little higher. And we're going to then push it around and down. So now the two are sort of on top of each other, as you can see. Now again, this upper loop is a little crooked, so we're gonna move it around some. And then this one is done being put together here. Now I'm going to take some of my tools and get them put away because I don't need them. I'm only going to need what I have out now. So now the next step is to start stringing our pieces up. So we'll need some crimp tubes out. And some wire. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can do the top first, or we can do the middle one first. I'm just going to cut off a hunk of wire. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need exactly, but I'm just going to cut off some. Put it back aside again. Now I'm going to grab a bead stopper and put on the one end instead of stringing this up right away. So then we're going to start going through our stringing our beads up. And the main reason I'm not doing this right this second is because I want to see how this is going to look. Do I want to make any changes to the way I have it? I might. You never can tell. Then, of course, our bigger crystal is going to go down here on this one, and then up here to the Kraken. So let's push these all aside so we can see. You go over here, as do you. How this is going to look when we put it on here. It's going to go through here. This is going to slide up over here. I'm just going to get another. Now this isn't going to be the right length, I can tell you that, because once I put this on here, it's going to take up a lot more space than the wire itself would. So then this guy will go onto here, and it'll, oops, I didn't get it on through the loop. And it'll hang right here, like so. Now the question is, do I like this length? Do I want it a little longer, a little shorter? It's actually a nice length, even if like I say, we are going to have it quite a bit smaller, because this is taking up a lot more space than a crimp, like about a full bead's worth. So, do I want another bead there? If I do I want one of the little blue ones? Do I want one of the little orange ones that I put away? Let's see what it looks like with just one of the little blue ones. Now, we know that 2 will go through a little blue one of the little blue ones, because we did so on something else we made. So, oh, I didn't put the blue bead itself on. So that would then look like so. And we'd need another little blue one for the other side too. Or we could take and deviate from the box and get a pearl. Now these are not true pearls, but they are the next best thing. They're made out of shell, and they are from Bead Box Bargains. So we could put this guy on here. Now I'm not sure if he'd take 2 strands either, but let's try the little orange beads that are these ones. Cut those open and see how they work. Now, like I say, whatever I do down to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top too. So let's see how this looks as opposed to the pearl. Even though I really like the pearl, I think the color down here at the bottom is helpful. I like that. So I think we'll put our pearl back, and we will get some more spacers out, and we will put this another one of these orange ones up at the top of the strand, and I think that might be our strand. Let's get one of these. The orange, and then it will look like so. Now you can make a sun catcher strand as long or as short as you want. I think this is a good length, so that's what we're going to leave it at. You will recall we are going to make 2 more strands with the smaller ones, but this is the one for this one. So we're going to put this back on this side, and we're going to get one of our crimp tubes, and we're going to crimp. I should have got a gold wire to do this, but I got silver, so we're going to have multicolored metal, obviously. We're going to put this through here. I'm definitely not going to worry about making it a different color at this time. So crimp there. Tug test. It's fine. Down. And like I say, this little gray one is most likely not going to take both strands. Oh, wow. Well, it did, but it only went part way. Back off. And we're going to cut it right here at the end. Now we'll let this roll down this way. Make sure we have our wires the proper way when we go to put it on our Kraken. So we'll get a crimp tube, and then we're going to grab our Kraken, put her through here, and now if you wanted to, I would be the first to tell you that you could jump ring this baby onto your Kraken if you so desired. Now I want the Kraken to be a little loose so it can move, but not so loose that it's just got a big gabby spot there. So we'll squish this down here, and I think that'll do it. So now we will crimp this guy here. Test it, and then we will cut the excess line off. Now we do have a gap up here. If you want to fill that gap in, you can always... Oh darn it, I flipped it accidentally. I thought I had it straight, but I don't. I had it flipped. So what I'm going to have to do is, since this is straight this way, oh, it's almost not. I'm going to just okay, that's much better. So there is our first strand going downwards, and we're going to need to do the one going up, and then we'll make these other two strands. However, I'm not sure of the length for the other two strands. So let's get some wire, more wire out and cut. Now these two strands are going to be identical, whatever I decide, however I decide to do them. I may just put the little crystal on right off the bat on one of them and get working on it. In fact, I think I shall. So we'll put this on, this little crystal onto the cord and crimp it up. So there's the one, the little first of our little ones going on. Now it's going to come up like here because I want it to be a little shorter so that it sits to the side like so. And we're going to start though with one of those. We want some of these little red window beads. And it's sort of going to be the same as this one over here. The difference is going to be that we're going to not have the second carnelian and these beads here and the crystal. So it's just going to be the other beads. And then we'll see what it looks like when we get it done. So I need to put out some more spacers here because we're right there with them. So and then, like I said, we're just going to go right up the line, make them look just like this one, except for when we get here, it's going to go to this up, and it's not going to go any further than that. So we need one of these little guys, another spacer, the blue bead, the white bead, which half of these are buried underneath the bags there. And then we're going to have that bead cap, and we're going to have it facing up. Then our carnelian, and the bead cap facing down. So it encases our carnelian, unlike this side over here where these other things are in the middle. So now we need a white one again. Spacer, come on spacer, go on. I think this one has something in it, so we will switch it. Now we have the blue one and the gray. And last spacer, and then the last little orange one. So let's see where that hangs it at. So now see, that's going to be higher, I think, than I want it, because I want it down here further. So we're going to have to add something into here. And the only difference is this portion right here. So maybe what we want to do is add one of these and then another carnelian, which should put it down a little bit further. So let's get another carnelian out. Well, actually, let's get two more carnelians out because we will need them for the other side as well. And two of these. And you see why I don't close it off, because we're going to be needing some other stuff here in this one. So now we'll take this off from right here. We'll put this patina brass bead here, then the other carnelian, and back to the cap, and we're going to put it then back to the same on this side as it was over here. And we'll see then if adding those two beads was enough. Okay, now let's tighten that back down. Come on, go over. And it goes to here then. Let's flip that. And that, I can live with that, I think. So this is this side done. I'm going to just pinch this off. And we're going to switch to the other one. We're going to cut some more wire and we're going to do the other side. So we'll get all our beads out here, which have gone underneath. Get our crystal here and some wire. Now the problem with finishing this, just with hooking this up to the Kraken, is that we're not sure where it's going to sit best. I will probably just put it, I don't know, maybe here and here, or here and here, but if I put it over here, it's probably going to be, even though that's the right height, I think it's not going to be the right distance. So let's get this other crystal this other strand put together. Did I just knock off my, yes I did just knock off my crimp tube. There we go with this other line. It's the same as that one. Yep. So now the decision has to be made of where we're going to hang these guys at. I'm going to put a bead stopper on this one so I don't have to worry about its beads coming off. It needs to flip this direction because of the same with this, because we want our cable to be proper. Now see, if we want the same distance from this one, we need it to be here, and I'm thinking here, but that's a little close. So I am going to put it in this other loop up here, and I'm going to put this one in this loop, and if it goes a little bit sideways, I think we can live with that. So it looks like I'm going to need another crimp tube, as it looks like I only have one here. Well, actually I'm going to need 3 because I've got the top to do still. Well, I think I got 4 or 5 out there. I don't want this one. So we're going to get a crimp tube. And as you can see, I have plenty of wire. I could have used a couple inches less, but that's all right. So we got this one. Got to make sure it's sitting so the crystal is on this side, so like so. And then we'll go up and through our Kraken's leg here. And, well, it's not a leg. I guess it is. Through here, and bring her up. And look at that, our crystal is backwards. So it's a good thing I looked. So when it's hanging, it's coming awful close to the other strand. Do I Does it matter? That's the question. This needs to be flipped anyway. It's upside down. But I'm thinking that's going to be too close when it hangs, because it's pretty darn close. So I'm thinking we're going to take this one probably and move it up to this other ring up here. I'd rather have them be further apart if possible. So let's hold it up again and see how it's hanging. I think that's better. Look, this one's still looking like it's backwards, but well, we'll see. I'm gonna just get this one crimped up. Now, as you can see, I have gaps of wire here. If that bothers you, you can always take a crimp cover and cover it up. So there is the first 2 rows on. Now, because I put that up on an upper one, we're further down again, but that's all right. We can live with that. This one's going to now go on this leg over here. So we'll get our crimp out. I do believe I have some big bronze crimp covers if I want to do that. A little tighter, but not much, just a tiny bit, and crimp it. Cut this. Now, like I said, these legs did go up higher than I had intended them to be because of having to go up onto those upper reaches there, but they're still very pretty. Now we just need to do the top, which we will do by putting a crimp tube on another piece of wire, not a really long one, just a little bit, and then maybe a few inches like so. Then we'll decide how we want to bead how much we want to bead up this part here, and we need to get a ring to hook this onto. So we'll put this on here. And crimp it. Okay. So now we have to decide what beads we're going to put on here, and I had originally just thought we'd just put one of these little blue ones. And the carnelian and the bead caps. But we'll see how that looks here. I don't really think it needs anything more because it's just the hanger, so I don't want a ton of space. It could use a little more. It wouldn't hurt to have a little more something in here, but the question then would be what? Because we didn't have our little blue beads down here. The only ones we had down here that were up here are the carnelians. And we could either put a white one in here if we chose, or one of the little gray ones. I think, let's see what it would look like with a white. If it would look good, we'll put the white in. If not, we will just let it go. And here's the white. So we'll dump a couple of the whites out, and we will see if they will work the way I want them to. So we need, well, I got one out here already, but I don't need a second one of the little spacers. White. And that spacer's the wrong size, so we need to get a different one out. Just one, thank you. I think we'll leave those whites in there. That looks pretty good. So now we just need to get one more crimp tube out because, you know, I didn't quite get enough. Well, no, I dropped one is what happened. And then we need to find the ring that we need to use for the top. So I've gotten another crimp tube out, and we've also gotten a split ring. So we will take this baby, go around our split ring, which if you didn't want to go on with it right now, you could just make a loop in your soft flex and simply then hook it onto your split ring by just opening your split ring up. I'm probably going to, we want to leave a relatively good size side up here, just like we did below, so that it's got some movement on the ring. So now that I've got that on there, I'm going to put my crimping pliers on. We're going to crimp that crimp. And we'll get it crimped. Feels good. So we're going to cut this extra little bit of wire off here. And there is our sun catcher all finished. With a little top piece here, and our Kraken and things hanging, the pieces hanging down from our Kraken. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? I don't know if you can see the top here. Probably not. Let's move this Sharpie out of the way, and we will bring it down here some so you can see it a little better. So that's, we'll flip this around some. So there we go. Now, if you didn't like the gaps that we've left here, which a lot of people don't, you can always put some covers on that. And I do have some covers here, and they're bronze. So let's, yeah, we may need more than that. Let's see. So if we're going to do that, I would just put them on this top, these top ones, and they'd go right over your cover here like so, and then go down, crunch. And if you'd left a hectare of a lot of space there, which I do have, still have space there on that one, you could have always put it below your other crimp, and then it would just look like a bronze bead. I'm going to tighten these two up later after I put these down. Oop. Kraken's getting in my way. So now we'll turn these over, and we'll get these finished up. See, they're almost done, but they're just a little bit open. That one is, well, that's the Kraken, and it's not quite closed. That one is closed. Good, good, good. So see, there is the way to handle extra space. It's still got some extra space up there, but it's not an atrocious lot anymore. So, and if you had wanted this space, you could have moved your crimp cover so it was between this bead and your crimp, as opposed to just covering it up like that. And I'm not going to don't think I'm going to bother putting one up above here. So there you go. She's all done. Now, if that spot still bothered you, it's a small spot. I'm not sure it's big enough. I was going to say you could put another crimp cover, not one of these. These are relatively good sized, but a tiny one in there, and cover that up. So there we go. There is my and I obviously have lines sitting backwards because I was not seeing my, here we go, my spirals. And there is our finished sun catcher. So here we go, we're all finished. As you can see, we used this photo for inspiration, the wreck of the Peter Iredale at Fort Stevens, Oregon. And we used our Kraken. And the only things that I added out of my own stash were the 3 crystals at the bottom, this crystal here in the middle, and the little daisy spacers. The rest of it is from the Bargain Bead Box Sunken Treasure. I think it turned out really lovely. The orange and the carnelian are meant to mimic the rust in the ship, the little brass pieces. Brass lava is the sand and the stuff at the bottom. Of course, the blue and the white is our ocean. And our crystals will throw some rainbows when our Kraken brings it up into the sun. So I hope you liked this. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm really pleased with it. I did crack this bigger crystal just a touch right here on the top. You can't really tell because, well, for one thing, it's inside the bail portion, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it. So anyway, there we go, all done. So let's hold her up, shall we, so you can see it, the whole of it. Isn't that pretty? And it turned out really nice. I really liked it. This thing still wants to sit sideways, but oh well. If you hang it in a window, of course, it'll be across the window will be holding it from moving too much, or you can just hang it on a hook on something. But the sun hits those crystals and it's gonna be Rainbow City. So there we go, all finished. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we made this gorgeous sun catcher using this photograph for inspiration and the Sunken Treasure box from Bargain Bead Box. Isn't that gorgeous? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.